So this week's episode of Attack on Titan, we get the backstory of Kenny, as well as Levi to a certain degree. Now, if you've watched the OVAs, you understand how Levi ended up in the Survey Corps. Those were really great OVAs, highly recommend them if you haven't seen them yet. But this is how Kenny and Levi came together, but also why Kenny was set on the way he is. In this episode, they really took their time with it, which I really appreciate because you really understand where Kenny was coming from. Kenny is neither a villain or a hero. He's really just a survivor at the end of the day. He lives in such a grotesque world full of just despair. Someone is always kind of forcing their ideology on you. Someone's always thirsting for something, be it power, be it religion, be it to be a hero or a villain. They're always after something. And what I like with this episode is how they took their time with it, right? You're starting off and you're seeing, okay, why did Kenny end up where he was at? And you're seeing that he actually had contact with the first king. And what they did really nicely there is you're showing just, the king just radiated this presence like, okay, even though I'm a little scared of him coming out of his Titan, he's not just killing people who are going against him. He's immediately like, he's asking questions. He's not a punch first, think kind of later sort of a person. And I like how Kenny is this kind of guy who's trying his best. That's all he knows is violence. That is what Kenny is. He knows violence. That's all he can do. And when that fails him, he's left speechless. And when the king actually comes out and is trying to like just talk with him, even after getting a knife thrown into his arm, which was just beautifully animated, and Kenny even pulls a gun, he begs for forgiveness. He understands, like, you have reasons to hate me. We've done horrible things to your family, but I ask for your forgiveness. I can't die yet. I still have a purpose. What I like about that moment is even though it's such a short scene, you immediately understand why an Ackerman would want to help the royal family in that situation. Even though they're being hunted down, he has a reason, like, there's someone with so much power bowing before me who is nothing. That's someone, even if I don't understand it, I want to get to know. And he actually does have a pretty good importance. The Ackerman stopped getting hunted down. There's just certain things that he was able to do because he became friends with someone who he actually shouldn't have been friends with. And the entire scenes with them are so beautifully done, especially when he's kind of on his deathbed, when he knows he's about to die. He's talking to him like, why did we become friends that day? What exactly was it? Was violence the answer? Is violence truly the answer to everything? But the king has a different mentality than that of Kenny, and Kenny could never agree with what his friend said there. But what I like is you see why he was thirsting for that power and why he was so disappointed when he learned that he couldn't have the power that's inside Eren. Because for whatever reason, there was something that only the king could see. Only the people who inherited that monstrous power could see. And it's why he was so thirsty for that power. So why he just gives up in the end saying like, if I can't have this power, I'm just gonna wreak havoc here. I think it's such a good moment and you really understand where Kenny was coming from. But actually seeing the stuff with Levi and also his sister, who you learn is Levi's mother in this episode, what I like about Kenny is he recognizes he's not a father. He's not a father, but he's not gonna let a little boy die alone, especially if that little boy is his sister's son. And what I like is how his idea of just raising him, he wants to raise him, he doesn't care what he becomes, as long as he can fend for himself and not end up dead like his sister, that's good enough for him. Kenny's not really a role model, but he's actually pretty damn important for a world such as this, especially if you're in the slums in Attack on Titan. You gotta be able to fight, you gotta be able to stick up for yourself, and Levi as a kid is a very scary person, you can say. How it paced that backstory, how you're looking at the king, how you were looking at Levi and why he ended up leaving Levi because he can't be a father, that's not what he knows. But why he doesn't use the Titan serum on himself at the end of the day. It was almost like this, I can't be your father, but I can do one good thing in my bullshit life. I can give you this, Levi. I could have used this, I had the strength to do it, but I'm giving you this. Do what you will because you're obviously a better man than I am. Maybe you can do some good in the world. That's how I've always interpreted that scene, and I like it because in those final moments when he's laying against the tree, there's no music playing. It's all Kenny's voice actor, and you believe it's a dying man. There was so much emotion and range in that scene, and I thought it was just so beautifully done. Especially seeing Queen Historia finally crowned. The plan's really good. Have the people see that I am the queen they need. Someone who will take action, who will stand up for them. This frail little girl isn't some frail little girl, she is a badass warrior who will fight for the people. That's why she has the support of everyone. It's not her name that gives her that support, it's what she did. It's such a great moment, not to mention at the end of the episode, some people were asking, hey, when are we going to see that Colossal? When are we going to see the Armored Titan again? here you go, we're shaping up for that. And of course, you got the Beast Titan, you're hearing some voice acting from it. Good stuff coming up, good stuff coming up. The Kenny stuff, it was just so good. Like, sometimes when you get those backstory episodes to side characters, a lot of times I see anime fans saying like, I wish we were just back to the main plot. I wish we were just back to the main objective. Here, however, I don't think many people are going to say that because Kenny was immediately a badass character when he was introduced, but now you're seeing that badass character, he had a bit more going on than you first realized. And I think this backstory episode is actually one of the strongest of the season because of how much time they took to flesh out why he has a connection to Levi, why Levi never knew his last name, why he never knew that the person who sort of raised him like a father is actually his uncle. There's so much there that fleshes out their relationship, but also that ending. It's emotional. Even though we really haven't come to know Kenny as much as, say, a Levi or an Aaron, you still felt something there because even though he's not a hero, even though he's not really a villain, he was someone that in his final moments, he did something good for the world. He gave Levi that serum instead of wasting it on himself just so he could extend his life. He did something good, and you understand that Levi, even if he may not want to admit it, he lost a father right now. Like, he truly did. And the fact that Levi can get punched by Historia and she can say, I'm queen now, you can't do anything about it, and he smiles and thanks her and the group, like, there's so much that's been happening in this season, and I love where Attack on Titan and its cast dynamic is going. This was a beautifully directed episode. There was a lot of still shots, but still shots were used fairly well. Attack on Titan actually does use still frames pretty well. Like, anytime we have some sort of flashback, they typically will kind of like slideshow around, but they really detail them in a really interesting and unique fashion that's different from the art style they typically use in normal scenes. So it makes these kind of still frames actually pretty to look at, and then when the animation was actually there, you really bought in, especially how they're detailing the eyes. Like, I could see my friend's eyes in Rod's daughter. Like, there's so much good detail there. I absolutely love it. Attack on Titan has been killing it. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait to see how the anime is going to further flesh out this amazing story. Let me know what you're thinking down in that comment section below. Your favorite moment. What did you think of Kenny's backstory? Let me know whatever you're feeling, and be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new. But until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.